When I was 39 and my wife was 42, one Sunday morning she turned to me and said offhandedly, "I think I'm ready." At which point I began to take off my clothes. And she said, "No, you idiot. I think I'm ready for us to have a child." And so I paused and continued to take off my clothes. I was in the middle of a very busy pediatric oncology fellowship. My wife had a career in anesthesia, and the idea of having children had just faded into the background, and all of a sudden one day we were both straddling 40. And she said, "No, I'm ready for us to adopt a child." And I thought, I guess I'm probably gonna have to keep my pants on. Now, at the time, international adoption was a faster path than domestic adoption, but the rules were rapidly changing. Countries like China were beginning to restrict the flow of children coming to America by imposing all sorts of rules. And so, not knowing what to do, we consulted an adoption agency in Boston, and after the counselor had gotten to know us, she said, "Have you ever thought about the Republic of Kazakhstan?" To which I said, "No, not even once." But it sounded intriguing. Kazakhstan is the 9th largest country on the planet by landmass, but one of the least populated. It's got Russia to the north, and Mongolia and China to the west, and Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan to the south. And we were told that the children who came to America from Kazakhstan were really healthy, and that the orphanage were run by pediatricians, but that it was not a common place for people to go to adopt children because you had to spend a lot of time. You had to pick out your child and then visit with them for 15 days, and only then could you apply to the court to petition them to allow you to take the child home. And that court process could take 4 to 12 weeks, and so you had to be prepared to live in Kazakhstan for 2 to 3 months. And I thought, sounds great, Kazakhstan, what could possibly go wrong? And so we started the paperwork, 5 months worth, and I did a lot of moonlighting to save up for this. And in August of 2007, we were told that we were going to be going to the Kostanay region in north central Kazakhstan. And in September of 2007, we were told that it was our turn to travel. And so we went, having absolutely no idea what was going to come next. And when we got there, we found a desperately poor totalitarian dictatorship where the people were deeply suspicious of foreigners. And so we got a little apartment and we tried to keep a low profile. Me, a Jewish doctor from Boston, trying to keep a low profile in Kazakhstan. Now, a couple of days later, we went to the Delphin baby house where we met a 6-month little girl named Lamert Arena, and we could only visit with her for 90 minutes a day, but we fell head over heels in love with her, and we visited with her for 15 days, and then we submitted our petition to the court. But just the week prior, they had completely changed all of the rules governing how judges heard adoption hearings. And instead of the usual experienced panel of 3 judges who heard all of the adoptions, they wanted now every single judge in the district, experienced or not, to hear adoption cases. Kazakhstan, right? And it turns out that our judge, Chief Justice Timofeyev, had never heard an adoption case before, and he was very nervous about us. He told us that he was going to go very slowly and scrutinize every piece of paperwork because he wanted to do it right. And after 5 or 6 more weeks of waiting, we were starting to get nervous that we were not going to be able to complete this. But then in November, we were told that we finally had our court hearing. We actually had 2 court hearings in front of Chief Justice Timofeyev, the final one with him in these crimson judicial robes and a prosecutor for the state in full military dress. That underscored how seriously they took this process. And during the hearing, my wife could not even answer the judge's questions without crying due to the emotional import of the event. And to be honest, it was very hard for me to hold it together because you were experiencing all of these feelings, especially as they read the 5-page verdict, translating line by line from Russian to English. And when they got to the part that said, Lamert Arena deserves normal life, parents, love, and affection, it was, of course, incredibly emotional. And in the end, at the end of the recitation, we were awarded custody of a beautiful little girl who today is Annika Arena, is 11 years old. And in what was one of the most profound and bittersweet moments of the entire experience, the court ordered that Her original birth certificate was to be destroyed and a new one generated with our names translated from English to Russian inserted as her parents. And at the end of the process, the judge said that he hoped that he had made the right decision. And to this day, it's still impossible for me to wrap my head around this. To say that we were awarded custody of her does not do justice to the word. I have been awarded prizes for my professional work, and I've won some contests, but nothing compares to the magnitude of the honor that I was given, that of being called a father, her father. And in the quiet moments when we're watching a movie together and she reaches out and she holds my hand, and in the loud moments when I see her swim in the ocean or ride a horse or jump double dutch, or the times when she just looks up at me out of the blue from doing her homework and says, "I love you." In those moments, I am honored, and I feel and hear the echo of the judge's words from 11 years ago and 6,000 miles away. And I think of the woman who gave birth to our daughter, and I think of the man who entrusted her life to us. Thank you.